Good morning. Yes, it's Identity Flow days. This is another one. This is the Identity Flow OpenID Connect flow. We use that every day when we use login via Google or Facebook or so forth. Let's get started. As always, change the layout to blank. We have three main actors. We have the client, the relaying party, in our case Salesforce, when we want to log into Salesforce, and we have the OP, the OpenID Connect provider. This one is a fairly complicated flow. It looks very daunting at first, but at the end, it's almost the same as the web server flow. It just has one additional step and one addition, which is only an optional, and a couple of more parameters. But other than that, it's pretty similar. So once you know the web server flow, you should be happy to do this one. So again, we add all the brackets. Yes, here you need to do this. Here, and we are done. Start with the errors. You know what? They get a little bit more space now today. You see, it's very similar already to the OpenID Connect flow. And I will walk you through the process right in a minute. But as always, first do all the errors thingies. Keep it fast and simple. And lastly, reserve resource. So, there's one more. This is the busiest part. So how do we get started? As always, our user in font size 12 requests a resource. Our relaying party detects that there's a login necessary. Displays the login page, and this in turn gives the user the option to use Facebook for login. So we do a redirect to auth endpoint of our authorization as of our OP. This is a GET request. And what does it do? It goes to the auth endpoint with client ID, scope, response type equals code. You already can see it's exactly the same. The only difference is here for scope, we add email because we need the email address. Response type scope, a code, state, return URL, and so forth. Then I just add already here login and consent. So what our OP now does, it asks the user to log in. And creates a session cookie. It asks for consent for the scope, and it responds with the auth code. So here we have now a redirect to return URL with auth code and scope. And yes, so we have another GET request here. And here, our relaying party actually extracts the authorization code from the URL. And what does it do? It sends it via post request to token endpoint, but this time it includes the client ID, secret, and all the other again the return URL, state and scope, and so forth. Then we here our OP validates client ID, secret, and auth code, and return response with creates access token. Access and ID token, this is the important part. So we have the response. With this access and ID token, then we'll validate ID token here. Let's just write it out here. This is important. It's a post response to the server actually. Then we have an optional part. Let's draw a little bit around here. So this is completely optional. This is when we need additional information. We could go to the user info endpoint, which is nothing else but just an info endpoint, just another API endpoint with our access token. Ask for additional claims, like for example, the phone number, street, address, language, whatever. So, and here we do validate token, prepare claims, and we have a post response. Here we have a post. This is important again. Post response with the additional claims. Then here we verify token ID equals sub. Anyways, we got now here already, if we skip that, we got our ID token, so we use that and to create update the user and login user. This create an update is done in the registration handler. Let me clean that up a little bit. And login user, and as always, last step, serve resource. So what we should do now additionally as bonus points, here we have the we use the OP's cookie for silent re-authentication without the user, and here we check on a regular basis, because the session actually would time out otherwise all the time after 50 minutes, and we check validity of session on a regular basis from the OP to make sure our user still is valid on the OP. And this concludes the OpenID Connect flow. This can be used also as a layered flow together with the user agent flow, for example, so and with our mobile devices and so forth. Again, thank you very much. Have a good day and looking forward to your feedback.